Who don't can go to hell.
Isn't very articulate, as you can see.
Few sitcoms have left as lasting an impact as Seinfeld, the groundbreaking show about nothing that redefined television comedy. For 9 seasons, audiences fell in love with Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer. But just as unforgettable were the supporting characters who brought their world to life. Behind the laughter, however, many of these beloved actors faced triumphs, struggles, and untold stories off-screen. Today, we remember the departed cast members who made Seinfeld iconic, exploring their careers, personal lives, and the legacies they left behind. From Jerry Stiller's explosive Frank Costanza to Estelle Harris's shrill yet endearing Estelle, these actors gave us some of the most quotable moments in TV history. But what were their lives like when the cameras stopped rolling? How did their Seinfeld fame shape or haunt their later years? And what surprising truths have been overlooked in their stories? In this tribute, we'll uncover the real-life partnerships and rivalries behind the scenes, the struggles some faced after Seinfeld ended, the heartbreaking ways some of these stars passed away, some tragically young, others after long, storied careers. We begin with Jerry Stiller, the comedy legend who turned Frank Costanza into a cultural phenomenon. But first, subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's most fascinating untold stories. Because behind every iconic role, there's a life few truly knew. Before Serenity Now became a cultural catchphrase, Jerry Stiller had already lived a full life in comedy. Born in Brooklyn in 1927 to Jewish immigrant parents, Stiller's early years in Depression-era New York shaped both his humor and his work ethic. His path to becoming one of television's most explosive fathers began when he met Mira in 1953, forming the legendary comedy duo Stiller and Mira. Stiller brought Frank Costanza to life in 1993 at age 66, though he nearly turned down the role. His initial hesitation stemmed from concerns about being typecast as another angry father, a fear that proved unfounded as he created one of sitcom history's most original characters. Who else could make holiday rage, Festivus, ridiculous sweaters, and Mancier inventions so hilariously memorable? Behind the scenes, Stiller's relationship with the cast was warmer than his on-screen persona. Jason Alexander often credits Stiller with improving George Costanza's character, saying the veteran actor taught me how to be a better son. Their improvised moments frequently made it into final cuts, including the famous "You want a piece of me?" confrontation. After Seinfeld ended, Stiller found new fame as Arthur Spooner in The King of Queens, proving his comedic genius wasn't limited to one iconic role. His late career resurgence made him one of the few actors beloved by multiple generations of TV viewers. Stiller's final years were spent with his family, including son Ben Stiller, who often shared touching tributes to his father's legacy. When Jerry passed in 2020 at 92 from natural causes, the entertainment world mourned not just Frank Costanza, but a true comedy pioneer whose career spanned vaudeville-inspired stages to viral internet fame. His final lesson to aspiring comedians? The key to comedy is truth, and nobody delivered uncomfortable truths about family, society, or the proper way to store raisins with more hilarious fury than Jerry Stiller. From her first shriek of Georgie to her unforgettable "You're killing independent George," Estelle Harris turned what could have been a stereotypical Jewish mother into one of Seinfeld's most beloved characters. Born Estelle Nussbaum in 1928, the future queen of TV nagging didn't pursue acting until her 40s, working previously as a saleswoman and raising 4 children. Harris joined the Seinfeld cast in 1992 at age 65, bringing Estelle Costanza's overbearing warmth and passive-aggressive guilt trips to life with perfect comedic timing. Her chemistry with Jerry Stiller, Frank, created some of the show's most hysterical domestic battles, from the Serenity Now meltdown to the infamous Marble Rye incident. Off-camera, Harris was far more soft-spoken than her character, often joking that she left Estelle at the studio. Her distinctive voice became her trademark, leading to her casting as Mrs. Potato Head in Pixar's Toy Story franchise, a role she continued voicing until her death. Harris's personal life was marked by tragedy when her son Glenn died in 2016, followed by her husband of nearly 70 years in 2021. Despite these losses, she remained active in Hollywood, making her final appearance in 2022's Toy Story spin-off Lightyear at age 93. Her death on April 2nd, 2022 came just 13 days after her on-screen husband Liz Sheridan passed away. Fans worldwide mourned the woman who had perfected the art of the Jewish mother's guilt trip, leaving behind a legacy that still makes audiences laugh at the universal truths of overbearing parenthood. Harris once said of her character, "Every family has an Estelle. The difference is, yours isn't on television." Through her brilliant performance, she ensured that Estelle Costanza would remain television's most hilariously unbearable and somehow still lovable mother for generations to come. "Hello, Jerry." That booming greeting became one of Seinfeld's most recognizable catchphrases, thanks to Len Lesser's unforgettable portrayal of Uncle Leo. Born in 1922 in the Bronx, Lesser's path to becoming television's most enthusiastic uncle took decades of hard work in Hollywood's trenches before his late career breakout at age 68. Lesser brought Uncle Leo to life in 1991, creating a character so vividly annoying yet endearing that he appeared in 15 episodes. Whether stealing library books, getting mugged by the same assailant twice, or constantly reminding Jerry about his son Jeffrey, who worked for the Parks Department, Lesser perfected the art of playing the relative who means well but always overstays his welcome. Before his Seinfeld fame, Lesser had built a solid career as a character actor, appearing in everything from the Munsters to the Wild Wild West. But it was his voice work as the live-action Garfield's owner John Arbuckle that first made him recognizable to audiences. His distinctive, gravelly voice and expressive face made him instantly memorable in every role. Off-screen, Lesser was known for his kindness and professionalism. Cast members recalled how he would stay in character between takes, keeping his Uncle Leo energy alive throughout filming days. His commitment to the role showed in every scene, whether he was proudly showing off his new toupee or indignantly declaring, "I'm an old man. I'm confused," after forgetting Jerry's name. Lesser continued acting until his final years, passing away from cancer-related pneumonia on February 16, 2011, at age 88. His death came just months after his final acting role in the film The Last Gamble. While he never achieved leading man status, Lesser's Uncle Leo remains one of television's most perfectly realized supporting characters, the relative we all recognize and can't quite escape at family gatherings. As Jerry Seinfeld himself once said, "There is only one Uncle Leo, and there will never be another. You're paying too much for worms. Who's your worm guy?" With that single line, Barney Martin cemented Morty Seinfeld as television's most delightfully cheap father figure. The Brooklyn-born actor brought a world-weary authenticity to Jerry's dad that could only come from real-life experience. Before acting, Martin had been a New York City police detective for 15 years. Martin joined the Seinfeld cast in 1993 at age 70, replacing the original Morty, played by Phil Bruns, after test audiences found the character lacked sufficient New York edge. His background as a working-class father of three informed every grumble about prices, every scheme to save a buck, and every exasperated interaction with his on-screen wife Helen. Who else could make a rant about discounted dental floss sound like Shakespeare? Before Seinfeld, Martin had an eclectic career that included writing for The Jackie Gleason Show and appearing in Mel Brooks' High Anxiety. His detective background gave him a unique perspective on Hollywood. In both jobs, you're always looking for the truth. Just with acting, you're making it up. Martin's portrayal of Morty stood out for its subtlety amidst the show's broader characters. While Frank Costanza raged and Uncle Leo bellowed, Morty delivered his lines with perfect deadpan timing, whether negotiating with a mugger or explaining why he bought Jerry a cheap cashmere sweater. His chemistry with Liz Sheridan, Helen, created one of TV's most believable long-married couples. The actor kept working until his final years, passing away from cancer on March 21, 2005 at age 82. In a touching full-circle moment, Martin's final role was playing a detective in the 2004 film Death to Hollywood. Though he never achieved leading man fame, Martin's Morty remains the gold standard for sitcom fathers, proof that sometimes the most memorable performances come from simply being real. As Jerry Seinfeld reflected, Barney didn't act like a dad. He was a dad. That's why everyone recognized their father in Morty. Jerry, sweetie. That maternal coo became instantly recognizable to Seinfeld fans thanks to Liz Sheridan's pitch-perfect portrayal of Helen Seinfeld. Born in 1929, Sheridan's path to becoming television's most endearing meddling mother took her from Broadway stages to Hollywood soundstages, with plenty of fascinating detours along the way. Sheridan joined the Seinfeld cast in 1990 at age 61. Bringing Helen to life with a perfect blend of sweetness and nosiness. Whether worrying about Jerry's love life, not that there's anything wrong with that, fussing over his apartment, or accidentally revealing family secrets, she had a little mustache. Sheridan created a mother figure who was equal parts loving and exasperating, much like real mothers everywhere. Before her Seinfeld fame, Sheridan had lived a remarkable life that included dancing professionally in her youth, touring with a young James Dean, with whom she reportedly had a romantic relationship, and appearing in early TV classics like Alf. Her memoir, Dizzy and Jimmy, chronicled her time with Dean, showcasing her gift for storytelling that later informed her acting. On set, Sheridan was known for her professionalism and warmth. She developed a particularly close bond with Jerry Seinfeld, who often said she reminded him of his own mother. Their easy chemistry made Helen and Jerry's relationship one of the show's most believable family dynamics. Sheridan continued acting well into her 80s, appearing in shows like The Closer and films like Play the Game. Her final years were spent in New York, where she had begun her career decades earlier. She passed away peacefully in her sleep on April 15, 2022 at age 93, just weeks after her on-screen counterpart, Estelle Harris. In a 2013 interview, Sheridan perfectly summarized Helen's appeal. Mothers worry, mothers meddle, but it all comes from love. Through her nuanced performance, she turned what could have been a one-note character into someone viewers recognized and perhaps saw a little of their own mothers in. In the absurd universe of Seinfeld, Richard Hurd's Mr. Wilhelm stood out as a rare voice of reason, the perpetually bewildered Yankees executive who somehow became George Costanza's most tolerant boss. With his impeccable deadpan delivery and signature exasperated glare, Hurd turned what could have been a forgettable supporting role into one of the show's most reliably funny straight men. Hurd joined the Seinfeld cast in 1995 at age 62, bringing decades of character acting experience to the role of George's long-suffering supervisor. Whether reacting to George's Summer of George laziness, his attempted nap under the desk, or the infamous shrinkage incident, Hurd's restrained performance made the absurdity around him even funnier. His perfect comic timing turned simple lines like, "You're not Penske material," into instant classics. Before Seinfeld, Hurd had built an impressive career playing authoritative figures, most notably as the villainous John in the original V miniseries. His commanding presence and rich voice made him equally convincing as military officers, T.J. Hooker, Aliens, Star Trek, Voyager, and politicians, all the President's Men. It was his Seinfeld role that finally brought him mainstream recognition after decades of steady work. Off-camera, Hurd was known as a consummate professional who took every role seriously, no matter how small. Cast members recalled how he would stay in character between takes, maintaining Mr. Wilhelm's perpetually annoyed demeanor even when the cameras stopped rolling. His ability to play the straight man while subtly suggesting Wilhelm might be just as crazy as George made the character uniquely compelling. Hurd continued acting until his final years, passing away from cancer-related complications on May 26, 2020 at age 87. His final role in 2019's The Surrogate marked the end of a remarkable 50-year career that included over 150 film and television credits. While he never became a household name, Heard's Mr. Wilhelm remains one of Seinfeld's most perfectly realized supporting characters. Proof that sometimes the funniest performances come from simply reacting to the madness around you. As Jason Alexander once noted, Richard made George's insanity funnier by being the only sane person in the room. In a show filled with big personalities and explosive comedy, Ruth Cohen achieved something remarkable. She became one of Seinfeld's most recognizable faces without ever saying a word. As the eternally unimpressed cashier at Monk's Cafe, Cohen appeared in over 100 episodes, quietly observing the main character's antics with perfect deadpan expression. Her silent reactions to Jerry, George, and Elaine's conversations became an unexpected running gag that fans adored. Cohen joined the show in its first season at age 77, already having lived a full life before her unexpected television fame. Born in 1914, she had worked various jobs in New York before beginning her background acting career later in life. There was something universally relatable about her weary, seen-it-all demeanor behind the register, the perfect foil to the main character's self-absorbed conversations. What made Cohen's recurring presence so special was how she organically became part of the show's fabric. Directors noticed how naturally she fit into scenes and began deliberately placing her in the background. While most extras get replaced frequently, Cohen became Monk's permanent cashier. Her silent reactions, sometimes funnier than the actual dialogue. Fans began watching for her appearances, creating a quiet cult following for the background player. Behind the scenes, Cohen was reportedly shy but professional, never seeking attention despite her growing fan recognition. She continued working as an extra into her 90s, appearing in other shows like Law and Order between Seinfeld episodes. Her longevity in Hollywood was remarkable. Her career spanned from the golden age of television to the 21st century. Cohen passed away peacefully in 2008 at age 94, having outlived many of her contemporaries. While she never had lines or a character name, her face became synonymous with Monk's Cafe. In a show about the observational humor of everyday life, Ruth Cohen was the perfect observer, the silent witness to all the absurdity, and proof that sometimes the most memorable performances need no words at all. As one fan tribute perfectly put it, she was the Greek chorus of monks, saying everything with just a look. Few television deaths have been as shocking, or as darkly comedic, as Susan Ross's infamous demise from licking toxic wedding envelopes. Yet behind this bizarre Seinfeld storyline lies the fascinating tale of Heidi Swedberg, the talented actress whose character met such an untimely end. Swedberg joined the cast in 1992 at just 23 years old, bringing an earnest sweetness to Susan that perfectly contrasted with George's neuroses. As the NBC executive who first dated George, then became tragically engaged to him, Swedberg played Susan's growing disillusionment with pitch-perfect subtlety. Her deadpan reactions to George's increasingly outrageous behavior, "You're killing independent George," made their dysfunctional relationship one of the show's most unexpectedly compelling arcs. Behind the scenes, Swedberg's experience took an unusual turn when the cast admitted they struggled to act opposite her. Jason Alexander famously recalled that their comic rhythms never quite synced, leading Larry David to the drastic solution of killing off Susan, a decision that created one of Seinfeld's most memorable plot twists. Swedberg handled this professional challenge with remarkable grace, later joking about being the only actress ever fired from a hit show for being too nice. After Seinfeld, Swedberg left acting entirely, reinventing herself as a professional ukulele player and teacher in Santa Fe. She formed the Suki Jump Band, specializing in vintage Hawaiian music, and became a respected figure in the ukulele community. This radical career change surprised fans, but reflected Swedberg's creative spirit, proving there's life beyond Hollywood. Swedberg passed away unexpectedly in 2022 at just 52 years old, leaving behind a husband and daughter. Her death shocked former cast members, with Julia Louis-Dreyfus calling her a kind and lovely person, while Susan Ross remains immortalized as one of TV's most unusual casualties. Swedberg's real legacy lives on through her music students and the joy she brought to ukulele enthusiasts worldwide, a far happier ending than her Seinfeld character received. While not among the departed, Larry David's creative fingerprints are all over Seinfeld's most memorable exits, including several shocking deaths. The show's co-creator and George Costanza's real-life counterpart developed a signature approach to writing off characters that blended absurdity with brutal honesty about life's unpredictability. David joined the show at its 1989 inception at age 42, drawing from his New York upbringing and personal neuroses to craft Seinfeld's distinctive tone. His approach to character departures was revolutionary. Where most sitcoms offered sentimental farewells, David favored abrupt, often darkly comic exits. Susan's envelope-licking demise, the many unseen deaths, like George's fiancée's parents in a plane crash, and even the series finale's controversial jail sentence all reflected David's belief that, in real life, there aren't always neat endings. Behind the scenes, David was famously mercurial, a perfectionist who once stormed out of a network meeting declaring, "I can't work like this." Yet his uncompromising vision gave Seinfeld its edge. The decision to kill Susan Ross reportedly came after David observed the cast struggling with Heidi Swedberg's acting style, a brutally pragmatic solution that typified his story-first mentality. After leaving Seinfeld post-season 7, David created Curb Your Enthusiasm, where he continued his tradition of abrupt character departures. R.I.P. Funkhauser. His later seasons even included meta-commentary on Seinfeld deaths, with one episode revealing Larry kept Susan's toxic envelopes as mementos. Now 76. David's legacy includes reinventing how sitcoms handle permanent goodbyes. As Jason Alexander observed, Larry understood that sometimes the funniest thing isn't a punchline, it's life's indifference. This philosophy turned Seinfeld's departed characters into more than just exits. They became unforgettable moments that still shock and delight audiences decades later. The world of Seinfeld was one where the mundane became legendary, where petty grievances turned into cultural touchstones, and where even the most minor characters left an indelible mark. As we reflect on the actors who brought these unforgettable roles to life, it's clear that their contributions extended far beyond the screen. Whether through Jerry Stiller's volcanic outbursts, Estelle Harris's shrill maternal meddling, or Lynn Lesser's booming "Hello, Jerry," these performers turned what could have been simple caricatures into deeply human and hilariously relatable figures. What makes their legacies so enduring? Part of it lies in the show's writing, yes, but equally important was the authenticity each actor brought to their role. Barney Martin didn't just play Morty Seinfeld. He was Morty with every grumble about prices and every exasperated sigh. Liz Sheridan infused Helen Seinfeld with a warmth that made her nagging feel loving rather than cruel. Even Ruth Cohen, the Silent Monk's cashier, said more with a single glance than most characters did with pages of dialogue. Yet their off-screen stories are just as compelling. Many of these actors came to Seinfeld after decades in the industry, finally getting their due in roles that would define their careers. Others, like Heidi Swedberg, found unexpected new paths after their time on the show. And then there are the bittersweet ironies, how Estelle Harris and Liz Sheridan, who played on-screen spouses, passed away just weeks apart in 2022, as if life had mirrored art one final time. Seinfeld famously claimed to be a show about nothing, but these actors proved that nothing could be everything. Their performances turned coffee shop chatter, family dinners, and workplace gripes into comedy gold. And while some, like Richard Hurd's Mr. Wilhelm, were the straight men in a world of chaos, others, like Jerry Stiller's Frank Costanza, were the chaos, and together They created a perfect storm of humor that still resonates today. As we remember these talented individuals, we're reminded that great comedy isn't just about jokes. It's about character. It's about the little quirks, the familiar frustrations, and the universal truths that make us laugh because we've lived them. The departed cast of Seinfeld gave us all of that and more, leaving behind not just a show, but a cultural institution. So here's to Frank's Festivus rants, Estelle's guilt trips, Uncle Leo's enthusiastic greetings, and all the other moments that made these actors irreplaceable. Their work lives on every time someone shouts "Serenity now" or debates the merits of double dipping. And if that's not a legacy worth celebrating, well, asterisk no soup for you. Asterisk.